Angelina, oh Angelina, what's the scoop? Angelina makes and read and write. 1+1, you know, Sabi. Teacher, the teach you just the sleep. Now, so chop you to the chop. Go to school. Now, so shakara, you just Sabi. To spell your name, you know, Sabi. For your sake, your mama sell drugs. For your sake, your papa tap wine. Angelina, why go to school? Angelina, why go to school? Angelina, Timorba no good, go to school. Angelina, Timorba bado, go to school. Angelina, you know the shame, go to school. Oh, Angelina, hey, Angelina. Oh, Angelina, go to school. Oh, Angelina, hey, Angelina. Oh, Angelina, go to school. Angelina, it's your go to school, oh. It's your you don't dey old, oh. It's your you don't dey shame, oh. It's your you do dey chop, oh. It's your you don't dey fat, oh. It's your read your books, oh. It's your do your homework. It's your papa dey holla. It's your mama dey cry, oh. It's your go to school, oh. It's your Angelina, why go to school? Angelina, Timorba no good, go to school. Angelina, Timorba bado, go to school. Angelina, you know the shame, oh, go to school. Angelina, it's your go to school, oh. It's your don't dey old, oh. It's your you don't dey shame, oh. It's your you do dey chop, oh. It's your you don't dey fat, oh. It's your read your books, oh. It's your do your homework. It's your papa dey holla. It's your mama dey cry, oh. It's your go to school, oh. It's your Angelina, why go to school?
Hello, good morning to everybody listening to us. This is the voice of the Pedagogues, an educational research institute dedicated to assisting parents on how to go about the studies of their children across the length and breadth of Nigeria and Sahara Africa. We use this medium to thank you and appreciate you for listening to us and sharing our video. We use this medium to as well thank the WhatsApp community. We use this medium to also thank those who are supporting us and giving us certain information that can make the production better. We use this medium to promise the Nigerian society that we'll continue to try our best to give videos and clips that we have the educational system. Today, the topic for educational counseling is the relevance of philosophy to education. Philosophy is a branch of educational studies that goes in line with using philosophical principles to solve educational problems. And we have founding fathers of philosophy, the Socrates, the Aristotle, and the Plato, and many others who have given us the foundation for education. In other words, teachers do what they do based on some of the educational philosophies. And so if parents are not also abreast with some of these educational philosophies, they tend to think that teachers are just doing what they are doing for the sake of doing it. No, it is based on these principles of age and many other things. So today we'll be talking about philosophy as the love of wisdom and education as the transmission of norms, values, beliefs, and tradition from one generation to the other. So when we talk of educational philosophy, is the use of philosophical principles to solve educational problems. Like I said, The philosophy of education varies from one place to another, varies from one community to another, varies from one citizen to another, and varies from places to places. So, in other words, the philosophy of education is clearly codified in the national policy on education of a particular country. In other words, it is the definition of what education is to certain citizens as provided by the government of that country. So I would like to talk about the branches of education of philosophy. We're talking about metaphysics. When you talk of metaphysics, it's the study of the body, mind, and soul. The man is a tripartite being. He has a soul, he has a spirit, and he lives in the body. So there are these three dimensions. So when teachers are giving certain counseling, maybe they are counseling the child on adolescence, on courtism, on drug abuse, they are trying to encourage the mind infrastructure of the child, making the child to develop in the mind so that the child can become a well-adjusted and well integrated member of the society. So we talk about epistemology. Epistemology has to do with the theory of knowledge, how knowledge is acquired. Is it a revealed knowledge, intuitive knowledge, autodidactic knowledge, pragmatic knowledge, and many others? Intuitive knowledge comes as a moment of insight. The moment, when you talk about the musicians, the writers, they go through the power of intuition to write, even the hadiths, the Moses and whatever, Prophet Muhammad, all of them were receiving revealed knowledge. So it's a type of knowledge. Then we talk about pragmatic knowledge, the use of problem solving method and experiments. That's the indices of the science subject. When you do some theoretical subjects, you have to do some practicals. That is why practical is very important in the learning of science subjects. It's a pragmatic philosophy. Then we talk about different types of knowledge. At times, you have rational knowledge. You must be able to think. When teachers give students sums or certain things that will make them to think, improving the critical thinking methodology of the particular child. It is believed that teachers need to set questions that will make children to be able to think. This is what is lacking in our society today. When certain questions are set, they will just be like objective questions where students are not able to think, and the mental age of the child also has to be uh be, has to be considered before the question is set, because age cannot be divorced from what will make a person to conceptualize ideas and information very well, most especially as a learner. What a particular child in the primary school will be able to conceptualize is different from what secondary school child and tertiary school in the institution child will be able to conceptualize. So we are talking about the mental age of the child. So all these things has to be put into consideration before the epistemological insight of the philosopher. Then we talk about logic. Logic has to do with reasoning, ability to reason. By the archaeological nature of the theory of man, human evolution, Charles Darwin, man is considered a thinking being. That is the Homo sapien. Man must be able to think. The ability to think of a man is very, very much important. And so the education is never complete if the child cannot think, if the child cannot comprehend, if the child cannot analyze and synthesize information as given by the teacher who is teaching the particular child. In other words, to have a holistic education, it is very, very much important to give children a sort of education that will make them to be able to think, most especially to be able to solve problems that are in line with their mental ages. So the mental age of the child is very, very much important. Then we are talking about axiology and logic. Axiology has to do with ethics and aesthetics. When we talk about ethics, ethics has to do with behavior, the behavioral indices of the particular child, how the particular child behaves. So that's the ethics, how the good, knowing the good from the bad. And this is the reason why subjects like social studies, like civic education, like religious studies, like moral talk, and some extracurricular programs are being integrated into the educational system. In other words, for a school to be good, it will be very good for the administrator to integrate many extracurricular programs that will help the affective, the behavioral pattern of the child, the social skill of the child. It is very, very much important to integrate it into the curriculum. Not only reading, writing, not only cramming, not only memorization. The child must be able to have social skill, must be able to relate well, and must be able to solve certain problems. Then we're talking about aesthetics. Aesthetics has to do with beauty. The child should be able to appreciate beauty, value, be able to appreciate beauty. This is why subjects like fine arts, creative arts, cultural arts is being integrated into the curriculum. And it is very much important for them to be able to know the practical of these subjects. Very, very much important. So the importance of educational philosophy is that it increases the ability of the child to what? Be able, of the teacher to be able to be active participants in the policy making, and be policy makers, making implementers, to be able to implement the policies that has been given in a very good, apt, and a very fine, fair, and fantastic nature. So we have philosophical schools of thought. We have naturalism. Naturalism has to do with making sure that the child relates well with the environment, most especially the children. They should be given ample opportunity to relate, to explore their environment. Don't gag them. Don't think that they should not explore the environment. Give them opportunity to explore the environment. And it is belief of the naturalist that as child relates with the environment, is able to have a better self-concept and a better understanding of the environment. It is the belief of the naturalist that the child is born without any problem, without any bad attitude, that it is the society that is corrupt, that influences the child in the negative way. And we have people like Pestalozzi and Rousseau, who are the advocates of this educational philosophy. Then we have idealism. Idealism has to do with giving a self-evaluation, and it is believed that reality is the mind. The realists believe that every knowledge comes from the mind. That is why the mind infrastructure is very, very much important in the school. That is why teachers must put in concerted efforts to ensure that the mind infrastructure of children of school going age is very unique, is well developed. The child that cannot relate well is not supposed to be, is not a product, will not be a product of a good society. So another school of thought says that true knowledge, Plato says true knowledge comes from those whose intellects have penetrated beyond the confusing and the deceiving shadows of sense of perception. It's also the belief of philosophers, that most especially Socrates, that the child should be taught from known to unknown. They believe that the child is not a tabula rasa, that the child knows certain things, and that we should try to question the child from known to unknown. We should try to elicit learning behavior from the child. So it is also very important for parents to also try as much as possible to read with their children. When they get home, let them uh, create some time to ask them questions on what they have done. It's not only the duty of the teachers to teach the students. It is also the duty of the parents to supervise the reading culture of their children, and also to ask them questions on learning behaviors and their learning outcome. Parents lack this, and this is why many of the children are not performing excellently well in their education. The home being the first agent of socialization. It is the home that will set the pace. It is the home that will be the foundation upon which what schools will do for children will do. So without the concerted effort of the home, the entire effort of the school will be a wilderness of wasted logic. So I will progress to the philosophy of early childhood education. When we talk about the philosophy of early childhood education, it has to do with how children are being taught. Early childhood education, children education has to do with pedagogy, the art and science of making the young learner to learn. So, and we have some methods that are very important when you are dealing with primary school children, it is very important for you to play with them, use what they like to get them to catch their attention. And things like audiovisual, visual aids will be very necessary for parents to provide for their children to consolidate what teachers are doing in the school. So let them watch films, let them learn at their own pace, and be very democratic with them. Many parents will just beat their children. Why have you not done their assignment? They will just beat them anyhow. At the end of the day, the child will not be encouraged to learn, but it is very much important to stimulate learning environment in in a very comfortable way for them to be able to learn. So it is also very much important to consider the age of the children as we put learning task before them. Many parents will think that the child is not good enough, whereas it's not the child. The problem of the child is the child is young. So if your child is too young, you must look for other means to make sure that the child can learn effectively. Maybe creating remedial classes, supervision, provision of books, supervision. Supervision is very important. You must be able to make sure that the child goes through regular reading regimen. Okay, 2 hours. Make sure that the child read that 2 hours in a day. Many children are not reading. Reading is a task. So it's very much important for parents to motivate their children to read. Yes, supervise them. It's your duty. It's not the duty of the teacher. It's not the teacher that will do it. It's not the teacher that stays with the child at home. It's the duty of the parents to what supervise the effort of the teacher. Without this, you are just wasting your money in private school or whatever where you put your children. So I would like to wrap it up by saying, talking about the philosophy of adult education. When we say adult education, it is it's called andragogy. It was propounded by Marco Knowles and Paulo Freire, and it has to do with the art and science of making adults to learn. When we talk about adults, adults are self-directed, adults have accumulated life experience, and adults are very they know already know what they want. So it is very much important to be democratic with adults. You don't just force them. You try as much as possible as a teacher to ensure that learners. Thank you very much. Simple English. Yes, we try as much as possible to use simple English, and thank you very much for that. So adults are self-directed, so it is very much important ensure that to ensure that they ensure that they learn what is expected of them. So the product of adult education has to do with this continued learning processes, continued learning centers, TOEFL, JAM. You see that the philosophy of early childhood has to do with being able, the philosophy of adult education has to do with being able to achieve certain goals. So in other words, it's not a broad philosophy. It's not a broad philosophy. So it is very much important for the administrator of adult education program to bring the program in line with the needs of the particular adult. So I use this medium to thank you and tell everybody to continue following us, continue to pray for us, and continue to encourage us in whatever capacity, be it morally, be it financially. So because we have a number of challenges, which I don't like preaching my challenges, we work around the challenges. I will keep moving. We keep moving. We have a lot of videos, clips to release, and we pray we are able to deliver it. And we want Nigeria to be better. We want the children to be more vast intellectually. We want the school system to be very good. We want the parents to know how to go about the education of their children. And we want a better Nigeria. That is the advocacy. It's not a show off. It's not a campaign of value. So we try as much as possible to release videos. Keep watching us. And I want to use this medium to announce that the pedagogues shall be anchoring a marathon revision class online for the students who will be writing their work very soon. So we are going to dwell much on paper one, summary, comprehension, essay writing. That is the aspect that make students fail. We are going to do justice to it, and we are going to revise oral English. It's going to come up by God's grace by Monday. Monday, and it's going to be by 7 p.m. We'll be able to watch us live and direct. So tell students to watch us, share our video, and thank you very much. You want to call us, this is my number 09022621606. Till we meet, thank you and God bless you.